On the eve of the wedding, my wife said she wanted to go traveling with her childhood friends to relieve stress. But suddenly I saw her childhood friend Jiang Kai posted a message on WeChat Moments. The person I love is going to be given to another man, so let me have you for the last time. The accompanying picture shows my wife sleeping with her shoulders bare. I was stunned for 2 seconds, then typed a reminder considerately. Don't forget to go for a checkup, my wife is sick. The moment this sentence was uttered, the phone rang. There was a threat in the dissatisfied tone of my wife Shen Yanchu. What nonsense are you talking about? Do you still want to get married? I looked at the bouquet of flowers prepared for the wedding in my hand, which had already rotted into a ball, and smiled nonchalantly. Let's not get married. You two can continue. There was a sudden pause on the other end of the line. Because I would never say such things before. Shen Yanchu's tone softened noticeably. Hubby, stop joking. I just posted the photos for fun. I just have a fear of getting married. Relax a little. Can't you be considerate of me? Considerate? Am I not considerate enough for her? Understanding that she wanted to stay in her hometown, I quit my job in City A and followed her to the small county town. Considering that she wanted to have a house of her own, I bought the house and put it in her name. Understanding that she wanted a dream wedding, I took the initiative to study every detail. How else can I be considerate? My head was getting more and more dizzy from staying up late to prepare for the wedding. Just as I was about to speak, I heard Shen Yanchu's terrified scream from the other end of the phone. Genuinely, help. My heart skipped a beat and I subconsciously stood up, knocking over the chair with my body. What's wrong? Her voice became more miserable. Genuinely, my leg was bitten by a snake and I have no feeling anymore. Am I going to die? At this moment, I suddenly remembered that they went to climb a mountain in the wilderness. It is not uncommon to have poisonous snakes and insects. I sighed heavily. Have you called the emergency number? Let Jiang Kai take you there. Shen Yanchu snorted coldly. He ran away a long time ago as a coward. Then he begged me pitifully. Hubby, come quickly, I'm scared. I listened to her voice and I would be lying if I said I wasn't worried. I scratched my hair, took the car keys and went out decisively. During this time, Shen Yanchu might have been too scared, or afraid that I would not come, and kept crying quietly on the phone. I gritted my teeth and kept my foot on the accelerator. Several times people rolled down their windows and cursed my ancestors. But I still complained that the car is not fast enough, and I just hate why it can't have 2 wings and fly. When I arrived, I was troubled by the pitch-black mountain road. Because I have severe night blindness, I can't see clearly at all. But human life is at stake, even if Shen Yanchu really did something wrong, I can't just sit back and watch. So I gritted my teeth and started climbing the mountain. During the climb, I stumbled a lot and didn't see the stones under my feet several times. I almost fell off the cliff. His palm also hit the stone, and sticky liquid immediately flowed out. Without time to stop, I ran to the top of the mountain in one go. But when I arrived breathlessly, Shen Yanchu was standing with his hands on his hips, looking at me with a smile, and he didn't look injured at all. She turned to Jiang Kai proudly. See, I told him he would come. He loves me so much. Jiang Kai raised his eyebrows at me meaningfully. Dr. He, you are awesome. You are very generous. All the tense nerves broke at this moment, and a heavy feeling of suffocation rushed straight to the top of my head. I swallowed the blood in my throat and tried my best to control my shaking hands. Without saying a word he turned and walked down the mountain. But Shen Yanchu suddenly grabbed my hand and said in a flustered tone. Lin Zayan, how did you get your hand like this? Aren't you going to have surgery in a couple of days? I just wanted to laugh when I heard that. Isn't it all because of her that things turned out like this? Hands are more important to a surgeon than life. But it became the weight of her joke. I didn't want to waste any more time talking to her, I just wanted to get down the mountain and deal with it as soon as possible. She noticed the change in my mood and put her arm around me and started to act coquettishly. Jiang Kai said that if he could trick you up here, he would give me a red envelope. Why don't you praise your wife for being smart and managing the household? I pushed her away indifferently and took every step carefully. When Shen Yinchu saw that I didn't go down the stairs, frost spread across his face. Yes, in the past I was the only one who coaxed her, but now she is willing to give me some good looks, which she thinks is a blessing from heaven. She snorted coldly and started chatting and laughing with Jiang Kai in the back. He was so stupid that he broke his hand, and he took it out on me. What a coward. Don't think he's being tough now. He'll be begging me the next day. Why bother? Jiang Kai snorted and laughed. A dog licker. Along the way, I kept silent. I was no longer like before, always paying close attention to Shen Yinchu's words and actions, for fear that she would do something inappropriate with others. Perhaps Shen Yinchu felt bored, or perhaps he noticed my abnormality, and in the second half he stopped playing around with Jiang Kai. After arriving home, Shen Yinchu saw the broken bouquets all over the house and screamed. Has the house been robbed? How did it become like this? I ignored her and focused on cleaning my wounds. Fortunately, there were only some injuries on the skin surface and no damage to the bones and nerves. Shen Yinchu questioned me relentlessly. Are you deaf? I asked you how you got into this state. The wedding is only 3 days away. After I bandaged the wound, I let out a long sigh. He said nonchalantly, what are you yelling about? Just don't do it. Shen Yinchu looked at me in disbelief, her expression a little flustered. But soon he sneered. Lin Zayan, do you think I can beg you like this? You're dreaming. I wanted to laugh when I heard that. Who cares whether she begged or not? I pressed my swollen head, staying up late and climbing the mountain in the dark. My body has reached its limit. So I ignored her, simply washed up and fell heavily on the bed. I thought that I could recover from my physical fatigue by just having a good sleep. But in the second half of the night, my body started to feel hot without any warning. I took 2 pills in my mouth in a daze and fell asleep again. But the next day, my fever became worse. He lay next to the trash can and retched. Shen Yinchu, who was woken up by me, originally wanted to scold me, but was frightened when he saw my face flushed red. He patted my back with some concern. What's wrong with you? I guess it was because of the cold I caught yesterday and the infection from the injury. I murmured dizzily, please take me to the hospital so I can get in 4 drip. She snorted in dissatisfaction when she heard what I said. You are a grown man, but your physical fitness is too weak. Look at Jiang Kai, he can climb a mountain without any problem. The complaining voices entered my ears and my heart began to ache uncontrollably. In her eyes, Jiang Kai is better than me in everything. Even if I earn more and take care of all the housework, I can't compare to the hormones of Jiang Kai, the mechanic. At this time, I was hurt both internally and externally, and I felt extremely helpless and that all my sincerity had been wasted. I started retching again, as if I was going to cough my lungs out. Shen Yinchu realized that my illness was really serious, and immediately helped me walk out in a hurry. As she drove, she casually said, there is a garbage bag under you. If you want to vomit, vomit in it. I lay on the back seat and reached down, and sure enough, there was a bag. Just then I felt a nauseous feeling rising in my stomach, but I looked down. There was a used condom in the bag, with a milky white unknown liquid on it. I suddenly felt even more sick. At this moment, Shen Yinchu's phone rang suddenly. She took a look and quickly answered the call. I don't know what the person on the other end of the phone said, but her face became more serious after she hung up. She felt a little apologetic. Genuinely, Jiang Kai sprained his ankle. I have to go there quickly. You can go to the hospital by yourself. It's not far away anyway. After saying that, she forcibly pulled me out of the car. I gritted my teeth, leaned against a tree on the side of the road, and breathlessly took out my cell phone to call emergency services. But the next second, his vision went dark and his body fell straight down. When I woke up again, I was lying on a hospital bed with an 4 drip. My colleague Suwon was standing next to me. She was relieved when she saw that I woke up. You really are desperate. You have a fever of nearly 42 degrees and you went out alone. If I hadn't seen you on the street, you would have died of fever. I curled the corners of my mouth, not having the courage to say that I was abandoned on the roadside. Suwon looked at my expression and suddenly asked, the wedding is the day after tomorrow, are you okay now? I didn't show any expression and said calmly, "No more." Fortunately, Suwon just blinked in surprise and didn't ask anything. I took out my cell phone and thought about how to inform my friends and family. Suddenly I saw Jiang Kai posted a new message on WeChat Moments. She didn't believe me when I said Chen Nianchu was a fool. I just had a little skin on my feet and it scared her to tears. Chen Nianchu's reply in the comment section was full of sweetness. "Bad guy, if you dare to scare me again, I will ignore you." Her girlfriends also liked and commented on the post. "You two are enemies. Please get married on the spot, and the groom will be replaced." The strange thing is, in the past I would have been furious when I saw such words. I will definitely ask her girlfriends what it means. As a result, my reputation among Chen Nianchu's friends became worse and worse. They said that I was petty and always looking for trouble. But now, my feelings for Chen Nianchu seemed to have burned away along with the illness. So I smiled, clicked like, and then commented. "I wish you a happy 99. If you need to use the venue, I can transfer it to you at a 20% discount." After posting the comment, I immediately informed my relatives and friends about the cancellation of the wedding. After finishing everything, I breathed a sigh of relief and the big stone in my heart was finally put down. But unexpectedly, the call from his good friend He Nanfei came earlier than Chen Nianchu's questioning. His tone was filled with uncontrollable excitement. "Brother, are you really not going to get married?" I hummed twice, "No more." He Nanfei laughed and patted his thigh. "You are such a blockhead. You have finally come to your senses. You gave up your house in City A and quit your good job to go to a small county town to find true love. I am really worried about you." He Nanfei comforted me for a while, and suddenly said, "June, since you are not going to get married anyway, just come back. Our department is still short of someone, and your qualifications will definitely be no problem. I have this plan. I will go back after finishing things here. It's just right that I can bring my mother back as well. After all, the medical conditions here are far different from those in City A. Speaking of my mother, I am grateful to Chen Nianchu. After my parents divorced, I have been living with my mother. But one day, she went out to climb a mountain and didn't come home until very late. When I was about to call the police in a hurry, a girl carried her to the hospital. The girl was as thin as a pole, and her legs were shaking when she carried my mother on her back. When I arrived at the hospital, I saw that she looked like she had been fished out of the water. This girl is Chen Nianchu. She might have been so frightened at the time that she just bit her lips and didn't say anything no matter what was asked. After 3 hours of rescue, my mother's life was saved, but she became a vegetable. At that moment, I felt like the world had lost its color. It was at that time that Chen Nianchu walked into my heart. She is an enthusiastic and hard-working girl, and she always blames herself by saying that it would have been great if she had met my mother earlier. Maybe she would wake up. I explained to her that my mother had high blood pressure and it was normal for her to faint suddenly. It had nothing to do with her. But this girl was as stubborn as a cow and went to the hospital every few days. Either I wipe my mother's body or massage her limbs. I felt that she was really wronged, so I secretly put a red envelope in her bag. Unexpectedly, the next day, she came to me with red envelope in her hand, with red eyes. "Do you dislike me?" I panicked and blurted out. "How is that possible?" She smiled, blushed, and whispered, "Then I'll be your wife, do you want me?" So we established a relationship. After Chen Nianchu graduated, she said she didn't want to leave her hometown, so I brought my mother to her city. As a man, it is not shameful to make concessions for your woman. But ever since she went to her hometown and met her childhood friend Jiang Kai, everything seemed to have gone off the rails. But it doesn't matter, it's all over. I sighed, pulled out the needle and prepared to go home. Suddenly, Suwon came towards me and called me. "It's time to get off work. I'll take you home. It's on my way." I didn't refuse. After thanking her, I took Suwon's car back home. After opening the door, I was shocked by the scene in front of me. My wedding room was packed with people. Chen Nianchu's parents, best friends, and even Jiang Kai were there. This requires a 3-court trial. Chen Nianchu's eyes were red and swollen, obviously he had been crying for a while. I was a little puzzled. Why was she crying? She should be hugging Jiang Kai to celebrate. When she saw me, she rushed forward and slapped me. Lin Zian, are you still human? You can cancel the wedding just like that. I pushed her away coldly. Isn't this what you wanted? You like Jiang Kai, is it wrong to fulfill your wish? Jiang Kai clicked his tongue. Lin Zian, you are being petty when you say that. We are just friends, and it would have been a long time ago if we wanted to get married. Mother Su sighed. Genuinely, you really misunderstood. They were childhood friends. As a man, you shouldn't be so petty. I laughed sarcastically, you guys are taking me for a fool. As soon as the words fell, Shen Yanchu raised a photo and threw it over. How far have you come with this bitch? These words left me confused. I picked up the photo and it turned out to be Su Wan. In this photo, Su Wan and I are sitting and talking, without any inappropriateness. Father Su spoke at this time, with a gleam in his eyes. Xiaohe, since you cheated on me, we can't just let this go. How about this, you apologize to Z and make up the difference by paying a betrothal gift of 100,000 yuan as compensation, and we'll let this go. After all, we're a family. I stared at their faces, some with arrogance and disdain, some with contempt and ridicule. I laughed out loud. This family is trying to turn black into white. When I was giving the betrothal gift and buying the house, he kept saying that he treated me as his own son. Now they see that I am about to run away, and they treat me as a sucker and try to fleece me. I originally wanted to give their family a decent break and part ways amicably. But Shen Yanchu is shameless, so don't blame me for not giving her face. I turned around, took out a stack of information from the room, and threw it hard in their faces. Shen Yanchu was furious at being hit. She picked up the paper on the ground and said angrily, I want to see what it is. But before she could finish her words, her face turned pale as paper and her body shook like a dice. Mr. and Mrs. Su looked puzzled and picked them up as well. Upon seeing this, Su's mother's eyes widened and she almost couldn't breathe. Father Su's face turned red with anger and he yelled. This is fake. How could my daughter have had an abortion? He grabbed Shen Yanchu's arm. Daughter, please say something. This basin of dirty water is being poured on you. But Shen Yanchu just lowered his head, his face full of shame. There was something that Mr. Su didn't understand at that moment. He grabbed Shen Yanchu by the collar and slapped him. When did you have an abortion? Whose is this? Jiang Kai was panicking at this moment and was planning to sneak away. I stepped forward to stop him and said with a smile, it's your turn now, why are you running? Jiang Kai glanced at me nervously and said in a timid tone. What your family does is none of my business. When Mr. Su heard this, he became furious and cursed. Is it you, Jiang Kai, who raped my daughter and now wants to run away? Jiang Kai is stubborn. Uncle, I don't know anything about this. Besides, it's all in the past. Why are you still pursuing it? Su's mother immediately continued what he said. That's right. If you are young and don't understand the mistakes you made, don't dwell on them. Just live a good life in the future. I chuckled. Mother Su was afraid that I didn't want her daughter. That's right, I gave her family a dowry of 660,000 yuan. She also helped her son get into a key primary school. How could she let me, a sucker, off so easily? Shen Yanchu cried so hard that she couldn't catch her breath. Genuinely, I know I shouldn't have hidden the fact that I had an abortion from you, but that's because I care about you. I swear, Jiang Kai and I have nothing to do with each other anymore. We are just good friends. He seems to have a clean name, but he is still full of lies. Mr. and Mrs. Su knew they were in the wrong, but they still tried to smooth things over. Xiaohe, you cheated on your partner, and Ziyi cheated on your partner too. You two should be fair and forgive each other, and live a good life from now on. Yes, we will still be a family from now on. I looked at this group of unrepentant people and decided not to show any more leniency. So I took out my computer and played the video recorded in the car. In the video, the disheveled Shen Yanchu and Jiang Kai were kissing passionately. The two people's breathing became particularly clear in this closed room. Shen Yanchu collapsed, she rushed over, lifted up the computer and smashed it on the floor. Father Su picked up the bench and rushed towards Jiang Kai. "You beast, I'll beat you to death." The room suddenly became chaotic. Su's father and Jiang Kai started fighting, while Su's mother cried and tried to stop them. Shen Yanchu knelt in front of me and begged me to forgive her. "Genuinely, I was wrong. I was just confused for a moment. Can you please forgive me?" I pulled away her hand that was tightly holding my pants and said coldly, "Don't touch me, I think it's dirty. Tell me what I should do to make you forgive me. Hit me." Shen Yanchu grabbed my hand and hit her like a madman. I looked at her coldly. She lied to me time and time again and treated me like a fool. Now that the truth has been revealed, he kneels down and begs for my forgiveness. "Shen Yanchu, your apology is worthless. I don't want to get entangled with such people," I said calmly. "Return all the betrothal gifts. The house will be in your name. I'll pay the down payment, and you can pay the rest yourself. The down payment is your reward for saving my mother's life. From now on, we owe each other nothing." Shen Yanchu's pupils dilated. She saw my determination to break up. He completely broke down and started questioning me loudly. "Lin Zayan, no matter how I have treated you over the years, is your heart made of stone? But shouldn't I be the one asking this question? No matter how much I gave for her, it was taken for granted." I remembered seeing the message Shen Yanchu sent to Jiang Kai. She said, "Since we missed each other, we should keep each other in our hearts. And she belongs to someone else now, and is no longer worthy of him. So do I deserve to pick up what others have left? In Shen Yanchu's eyes, I am just a bootlicker. In that case, I will grant their wish." Suddenly, Su's mother screamed. It turned out that Jiang Kai accidentally smashed Su's father's head. Shen Yanchu was terrified. She cried and helped Su's father up. He was rushed to the hospital. Before she left, she looked at me with tears in her eyes and said, "Genuinely, listen to me and I will explain it to you when I get back." But I don't want to listen. I started packing my bags and resigned. 2 days later, the resignation application was approved. I went to the hospital for the handover. Although my colleagues were reluctant to let me go, they all wished me all the best. We had a meal together. After we had a good meal and a few drinks, a colleague hesitantly said, "June, I was planning to keep this a secret since you were getting married, but now that you are not getting married, I thought about it and decided to tell you." Seeing his serious look, I asked, "What's the matter? Tell me." My colleague frowned and said, "Last month, when my boyfriend and I went to a hotel, we ran into Shen Yanchu and a man. They were arm in arm and very intimate." I opened my phone and pulled out a photo and asked, "Is that him?" The colleague nodded and said firmly, "It's him." I understood and thought back to our anniversary last month. I cooked a table full of her favorite dishes. I want to give her a surprise at home. But she didn't come back until midnight. I asked her where she had been with a grim face. Shen Yanchu said impatiently that he went to find a colleague. I immediately asked her to call to prove it. But Shen Yanchu cried and complained to me as if she was stimulated, "I am also very depressed, why are you so aggressive? Isn't that what you want to do?" As she spoke, she tore her clothes like crazy. I compromised and tried to comfort her even though I was upset. But if I had been sober that night, I would have noticed that she had traces of something fishy on her. I smiled and felt fortunate that I had finally escaped from the sea of suffering. After saying goodbye to my colleagues, I drove back home. After opening the door, a soft body rushed into my arms. I looked down and saw that it was Shen Yanchu who was dressed coolly. There was a charm on her face that she had never shown before. "You're finally back. Do you know how long I've been waiting for you?" I glanced at her coldly. At this moment, she was dressed boldly, the dream of countless men. I used to be no exception. I bought it secretly and gave it to her excitedly. As a result, she picked up the clothes and threw them at my face, and asked me with a sad face what I thought of her. When I saw the tears in her eyes, I felt extremely remorseful. I threw the sexy lingerie away immediately. I never thought that it wasn't that she didn't want to wear it, but that I was not worthy of seeing it. Because I suddenly remembered a time when I was having a party with Shen Yanchu's friends. During the Truth or Dare segment, someone asked Jiang Kai what was the most exciting scene he had ever seen. Jiang Kai groaned for a moment, then said slowly with an unsatisfied expression, "It's a light red short skirt with a bow." As soon as he finished speaking, everyone in the room started to make a noise. I didn't understand it at the time, but now I think about it, they were all laughing at me. At this moment, Shen Yanchu was wearing this aqua red short skirt with a bow. A feeling of nausea rose up in my throat, and I suppressed the urge to vomit and pushed her away in disgust. Shen Yanchu fell to the ground in a mess, looking at me in disbelief. Judging from her expression, Jiang Kai must be very pleased with this. I suggested considerately, "Let's send it to Jiang Kai." The slight blush on Shen Yanchu's face faded away at this moment. She seemed to have given up completely, and there was obvious hatred in her eyes when she looked up at me. "Lin Zayan, do you have to be so ruthless? Even if I have made no contributions over the years, I have worked hard." I nodded. "So why do you think I gave you the house?" Speaking of the house, Shen Yanchu became even more excited. She looked at me angrily. "Lin Zayan, don't you want to live a good life with me? You are so rich, why don't you buy a house in full and have to pay the mortgage? Now you just walk away, I can't afford the mortgage at all." Looking at this woman whom I have loved for so many years, I even want to cut her open to see if she has a heart. I gave her a dowry of 660,000 yuan and bought some hardware. My mother's medical expenses still need to be paid regularly. Even so, she was still not satisfied and kept questioning me about why I hadn't paid the full amount for the house immediately. I pressed my swollen head tiredly and said all the nice things I could. "Chen Yanchu, I gave you everything I could, but you are the one who is not satisfied. You can only blame yourself for what has happened." She immediately retorted, "You're talking nonsense. You clearly have another house in City A. If you sell it, you can get 7 figures. Why don't you sell it?" Veins bulged on my forehead as I spoke slowly and slowly. "That belonged to my mother." She sneered, "What belongs to your mother is yours, isn't it? In the end, you are still on guard against me. The former lover has changed beyond all recognition and all she has eyes for is money." I began to suspect that maybe what she was attracted to was not me but my money. I ignored her and continued packing my luggage. Shen Yanchu was like an abandoned woman at this time, constantly accusing me. "Lin Zayan, do you know how many difficulties I overcame for you? My family didn't agree with me looking for someone from another place, but I still chose you. It's said that children from single-parent families have personality defects. I think this statement is indeed true." My hands that were packing my luggage suddenly stopped and I turned around to look at her. I have never regretted knowing her as much as I do at this moment. I showed her the most secret scar in my heart. In the end, it became a knife that cut my heart. I was breathing rapidly, and it felt like the blood was flowing backwards throughout my body. I pointed at the door and said word by word, "Get out of here, don't force me to do anything." Shen Yanchu laughed like a madman. "I won't leave. What can you do to me?" I raised my hands, grabbed her shoulders, and was about to drag her out. The cell phone rang suddenly. I took a look and it was a call from the hospital. I clicked on the call and the attending doctor's voice was extremely excited. "Xiaohe. Your mother is awake." "What?" I was stunned for 2 seconds and then burst into tears of joy. "I'll be right there, thank you, Dr. Zhou." I wiped my tears and started looking for my car keys. Shen Yanchu, who was standing in the living room, suddenly began to tremble as if possessed by a ghost. When she saw me was about to go out, she snatched the key and stumbled out. I felt strange and wondered why Shen Yanchu was so anxious. I turned on my phone and hailed a taxi. When I arrived, I couldn't wait to take the elevator and ran all the way to the 8th floor. I pushed the door open breathlessly, only to see Shen Yanchu kneeling beside my mother's bed. The weird feeling in my heart became stronger, and a creepy guess emerged in my mind. I rushed over, pushed Shen Yanchu away, and hugged my mother. The grievances in my heart burst out at this moment. My mother touched my back and said, "Thank you for your hard work these past few years." I shook my head and choked up, "What are you talking about, Mom?" The mother looked at the anxious Shen Yanchu again. Thank you for your hard work in marrying my Xiaohe." I stood up and stopped Shen Yanchu who wanted to speak. "Mom, we're not married." Shen Yanchu choked and cried, she wanted to say something else, but this time I didn't give her a chance and pushed her out the door. My mother was confused. Isn't she your wife? I sighed and briefly explained what had happened. Unexpectedly, after hearing this, my mother was so angry that she slammed the table. This girl came to me and begged me, saying that she was your wife and hoped that I would let them go. I thought since we were a family, there was no need to pursue the matter, but she lied to me. My heart skipped a beat, and I quickly asked, Mom, what on earth happened to you at that time? The mother pondered for a while and said slowly, I was going down the mountain that day and met a man and a woman arguing. I saw the boy trying to hit the girl, so I went over to stop him. As a result, the boy pushed me down in anger. I rolled down the slope and onto the rocks. I couldn't remember what happened afterwards. The girl was Shen Nianchu. After hearing what my mother said, my fingers began to tremble uncontrollably. It turns out that this relationship was a lie from the beginning to the end. I swallowed the dry blood in my throat and exhaled heavily. I pulled out a photo from my phone. Mom, do you remember what that person looked like? Was it him? My mother looked at her phone carefully, her expression becoming more and more serious. She became excited. Yes, it's this man, I won't remember it wrong. I nodded and put my phone away. He spoke slowly and clearly, Mom, let's go home and I will settle this account one by one. My mother sighed. How could things turn out like this? I smiled and stroked her hair. Everything is over, as long as you are still here, it's fine. After that day, I took my mother back to City A. At the same time, a lawyer was hired to sue Shen Nianchu and Jiang Kai. Shen Nianchu went crazy when he found out and called me hundreds of times in one night. I blocked her directly. Jiang Kai kept sending me voice messages. I clicked on 2 messages and listened to them. They just told me that he was wrong and hoped he could apologize to my mother in person. He said he had elderly parents and young children to take care of and hoped that I would let him go. In the end, he even cursed Shen Nianchu, saying that she was a troublemaker. If I hadn't quarreled with her that day, I wouldn't have accidentally pushed my mother. At the end, Jiang Kai actually burst into tears. It can be seen that he has been under a lot of pressure recently. Actually, think about it, Jiang Kai's family is ordinary and his mother has underlying diseases. If he, a mechanic, goes to jail, it is easy to imagine that the rest of his life will be ruined. But what does this have to do with me? He did it, and adults should be responsible for their own actions. I stopped caring about them and left the rest of the process to the lawyers. I took my resume to the hospital recommended by my friend. This is one of the top 3 hospitals in the country, but my resume is also impressive, and I got recommended by an acquaintance. I received an offer to join the company. My life is back to normal again. My mother's health is getting better and better. And after going through all this, I have completely let go of the past. But just when I got off work in the evening, I saw Shen Nianchu standing at the entrance of the hospital. She looked haggard and looked at the people coming and going awkwardly. I frowned, put on my mask, and walked out without looking around. As a result, I had just taken 2 steps out when Shen Nianchu recognized me. Damn it, I clearly remember going to the playground with her. We got separated accidentally and I found her quickly. I just wanted to stand there and see when she would see me. I was disappointed. After waiting for nearly an hour, she still couldn't find it. Afterwards, she smiled and said to me, "You have an ordinary face and a plain figure, it's strange that I recognized you." Because of this, I felt inferior for a long time and exercised secretly in private. "How come you recognized me now?" I looked at her and asked calmly, "What's the matter?" She looked at me with a distant look and her eyes slowly turned red. She raised her hand to grab my sleeve, but I dodged sideways. "If you have something to say, just say it. I've been at work all day and don't have time to argue with you." Shen Nianchu was extremely embarrassed, and she nodded hastily. He stammered, "Since you didn't answer my call, I had no choice but to come to you. For the sake of my serving my aunt, can you please not sue me?" She shed tears as she spoke. "You know, it wasn't easy for me to pass the exam to become a teacher. If I really end up in jail..." I interrupted her, "This has nothing to do with me. If it weren't for you two, my mother wouldn't have suffered so much, and I wouldn't have met you." Shen Nianchu looked at me sadly. She has lost a lot of weight, and her frail body now looks like it will fall down at the slightest breeze. Suddenly, she looked up and said, "I'm pregnant." There was silence in the air for 2 seconds. I asked calmly, "How many months?" Shen Yanchu was silent for 2 seconds and said 3. I laughed. "You're lying, you had your period 3 months ago." As for why I know it so clearly, it is because she always suffers from dysmenorrhea during her period. I would make a special note to make ginger soup for her. Shen Yanchu's face turned pale. Her lips twitched twice and her head drooped even lower. I speculated silently in my mind. Slowly, "This child is Jiang Kai's, right? You don't have to deny it." I remember the date. "That's great. You don't have to go to jail for being pregnant, and you can get married when Jiang Kai comes out." As I was speaking incoherently, Shen Yanchu suddenly raised his hand and slapped himself hard several times. She was in tears and her shoulders were shaking uncontrollably from crying. I felt neither sad nor happy, and just looked at her silently. When she spoke again, her voice was filled with regret. "I originally wanted to live a good life with you, but Jiang Kai is not someone who knows how to live a good life. But for some reason, when I returned to my hometown, he haunted me again like a ghost. He just can't stand seeing me doing well. He knows he's not as good as you, so he's jealous and resentful of you." I made up my mind to ignore him several times, but he threatened me with my private photos. I got involved with him again without knowing why. "I am sorry for you." At the end of her speech, she squatted on the ground, covered her face and burst into tears. But her tears had no effect on me. I had wasted these years of my youth on such a person. After all, it's not too late now. I ignored her and turned away. The case progressed quickly and Jiang Kai confessed to the crime. He was finally sentenced to 4 years in prison. Shen Yanchu was sentenced to 2 years in prison for harboring a criminal. She was serving her sentence outside prison because she was pregnant. Gradually, I stopped paying attention to their affairs. A year later, my family introduced a girl to me. After getting along with each other, we found that we were very compatible with each other. Only this time, I paid special attention to the people around her. After we were sure that our circle was clean, we decided to get married. We are both only children, so we can relate to many things. I also confessed to her about my past and she didn't mind. The days passed in a plain yet fulfilling way. It wasn't until more than 3 years later that my former colleagues in the county gossiped to me. "June, do you still remember Jiang Kai?" I replied, "I remember, what's wrong?" "He and Shen Yanchu had a fight, and now they are both in the hospital." I don't care why the two of them were fighting, but I suddenly remembered something. Their child should be 3 years old. The colleague replied, "She was not born yet. Shen Yanchu's parents disagreed and aborted her long ago." I yelled and didn't ask. The wife Jian Yan held her daughter and asked softly, "Honey, what are you looking at?" I turned around and kissed her face. "Nothing, just a joke. From now on, I know that I will become happier and happier."